Hello, welcome to Design Time. I'm Jackie Lacey. Today I thought we'd spend a little time talking about that favorite time of the year for most retail florists, Valentine's, or as we lovingly refer to it as Halloween. Just around the corner, it's that time of the year for retail florists that's sort of our Black Friday. It helps push us over the edge financially, beginning of the year, and gets us set up for the following holidays that are going to be just around the corner, like Mother's Day, Memorial Day, Easter, all of those great holidays that we have in the spring. So what we're going to talk about today is just a little bit about care and handling of roses. Now, a lot of you, this is going to be just a refresher course, and you might say, I don't really need to watch this. But you do want to keep in mind that the longevity of roses really depend on what you do to them and for them while they're in your care, and then to take it a step further, what you instruct your purchasers, your recipients, the buyers that come in, what they should do after they come to the home. It's really about making the longevity as long as possible because that creates a really good experience. And remember, when people have a bad experience with flowers, they don't necessarily say, I'm never going back to that florist, but often they say, I'm never buying flowers again. So that makes it bad for all of us. So we want to focus on providing good care and handling of our roses from the time they come in. And then I'll talk just a little bit about trends for the holiday that we're seeing this year that you might expect and want to make sure that you're prepared for. Now, when it comes to roses, really it's that beautiful, open quality of a rose that we see that really sets us apart from what people are going to find in mass marketing or what they might be buying on any street corner. We all know that everyone's cashing in these days, and you can buy flowers at big boxes, at the tool stores, at some of the drug stores. You can literally buy flowers almost anywhere. So what makes your flowers different? Especially because most of them are going to cost more than what they might be finding out there in the market or in other places, or what they might be able to buy online. So why should they purchase from you? Number one is care and handling, and you're a professional florist. You're going to be able to arrange them creatively, provide an upscale quality of rose, and a lot of times, is that enough? Really, it's up to you to convey that message. Hopefully you're jumping on socially and talking about the difference between roses. And I don't mean bad-mouthing all the other places that you can purchase roses, but talking about what you really provide that other people do not or cannot. When roses are bought on the open market, such as most mass marketers, I won't say all, so I don't want you guys to get mad at me, but some mass marketers do not take the care and handling or provide the care and handling that we do as professional florists. We order them, they're cut, they're usually in our store in a day or two. We've got a relationship set up with our wholesaler or the farm that we might purchase them from. So they're going to be sometimes fresher. Again, not always, so don't get mad at me. But you're going to be able to provide a quality rose that may last longer because it's cut and fresher. Remember, a lot of times some of the farms can store or dry pack these flowers for many, many weeks before you ever get them. And then by the time they're out to the market and sold, they're already weeks old and may not last as long. So you want to make sure that what you're getting in is beautiful. Also, let it mature so that it opens like a beautiful rose. Not only does that provide that beautiful visual look that everyone sees is different from what they might see, what I call the bullets that are really closed, have not matured very much, but it provides that look of a beautiful garden rose where it's lush and open, and you want to buy the varieties that are going to open like this and hold, so that way while they're in the home for 7 to 10 days, and traditionally that's what they should be lasting, they have that same look before at that point they start to deteriorate or to sort of get a little limpy. We start to drop some of the foliage, things like that. We all know those. You want to make sure that you're cleaning them properly once you get them in. Now remember that they probably have been dry packed to you before they come to your door. So you're going to receive them like this. They come in a sleeve, generally with some corrugated cardboard that's up here. They're very tightly packed. We can see all the foliage in there. And we've purposely left the cellophane and the wrapping on these roses for a good amount of time so that we can see the difference. These were received, and all we did was to put them in some solution, add them into some moisture, so they did have some moisture, but we did not unpack them. And luckily, we can see that there's not a whole lot of damage, but I am seeing some damage down in here. And this is what starts to happen because they can't get any air. So it's the moisture starts to build up in the head of the rose inside, and your foliage will start to discolor or turn brown, or you'll see that the heads on the roses may start to get a little bit mushy, and sometimes will just snap right off. These are still holding fairly well, but they do have that disease-borne in there, which will cause them not to last as long. And we can see that it's starting to spread further down in the rose. Because we did not let these sit out like we did the others, we can see also too, it's that bullet shape that opposed to that beautiful open garden rose look that we have. So we're going to lose a good portion of this bunch of roses, which is generally packed by 25 stems, because we do see a lot of that botrytis that's in there that's starting to discolor and cause our flowers to decay earlier. Now once you get them in, you're going to want to clean the foliage off. Remember that the foliage is one of the first things that starts to break down as you put the flowers in the cooler for an extended period. So anything that's going to be below the water line needs to be cleaned off. That way it doesn't start to set up bacteria in the water. You can do that a couple of different ways. A lot of people love to use a rose stripper to just run down the stem, and it takes the edge off of the thorns and cleans off most of the branches. It's fairly quick, but you do have to do that as a single. This time of the year, you may be getting in thousands of roses. How do I do that quickly? If you have one of those little potato mashers that has the prongs like this, you can lay the bunch on the table and run the foliage between each of the stems, and it cleans off those first branches, and then simply take a cloth and run right down the stem, and you're going to clean off those thorns so that they can easily be stored. You'll want to give it a good cut at that time, and you can cut it by the bunch or by the single stem, just so that you get a nice, good, clean cut in that, and then it goes immediately back into water so that it can open and mature. Doing those first few steps properly when they first come in, hydrate them. Then you're going to want to clean the foliage off, unwrap them. You can wrap them back up after you've sort of loosened them and given them some air where they can breathe, and put it in by the bunch. What I did in my shop is I went ahead and separated them by the dozen. So when it went down into a bucket, they were put in there by the dozen or the half dozen, and that was easy to grab during a really busy holiday. Doing those few steps before will really help you to move faster through doing all those dozen roses. As we're looking at trends for 2020, remember that classic blue is the Pantone color of the year, and we don't have a whole lot of blue flowers, but one of those popular flowers right now we're seeing are the blue hydrangea, so it might be a great way to bring some of those in. And then making sure that you have some other options that are available. We're seeing some people to begin to ask for mixed designs. Tropical flowers have a really strong appeal right now. Pincushion protea stuck down in with that beautiful classic blue, and then maybe dropping in a few of those hot pink Orlando roses. Give you a great combination for the Valentines, and that's something that can be passed on to a female, to a young person, or even today's market, we see a lot of men that are getting flowers at this time of the year. Yay! I like to embrace that. So make sure that you're preparing with your trends that you're going to see in your particular area, that you're cleaning the flowers the best that you can be to provide the longest shelf life once they go out to the recipient, and that you get them prepared, displayed properly in your store, and ready for the holiday. The more work you do before the holiday, the easier the holiday may be for you, because remember, you want to be proactive instead of having to be reactive. I hope that some of these tips will help you have a very successful 2020 Valentine's Day, and check back again with us next time for Design Time. We received a question that I want to make sure that we responded to and that we dropped it into this video. And the question was, should you wire a rose? When I was first learning to be a florist years and years and years ago, more years than I want to talk about, almost all roses were wired. A lot of that was because we didn't have the chemicals for treating the water, we didn't have the food and the nutrients that we provide in the water source for the roses, so they did not hold up as well. It took a lot longer for you to receive them, they were cut in one place, and then it might be a week or more before you got them. If you purchase your products from a reputable farm or wholesaler, if they're treated with proper care and handling once you receive them, and then also stored in the proper temperature during the time that they're in your possession, you really should not have to wire a rose. You've got good, strong stems. They're crisp. We can feel that. You're treating them as far as care and handling in steps that will not let any air get in to block and cause them to start to decay faster. So as long as you do everything on the front end, again, buy them from a reputable farm or wholesaler. Make sure that you give them proper care and handling, and store them at the correct temperatures with the right amount of moisture while you have them in your possession. And then go the next step by training your recipients and your customers how to take care of them after they get them. With all of those steps in place, you shouldn't have to wire a rose, and it should stay sturgeon and in place for the 7 to 10 days for a good, strong vase life. If you liked that video and you'd like to see more, click the subscribe button.